Hello, my name is Catherine D. Simone, and this is my project. I chose Mary, Queen of Scots, and Lady Jane Grey, starting on Mary, Queen of Scots. She was only 6 days old when she was made the Queen of Scots, because unfortunately her father had passed away. But then she was sent to France, and then came back. And then, she married her own cousin, Henry Stuart, also known as Lord Darnley. Unfortunately, their relationship kind of began to crumble because in 1566, her husband got into some scandalous situations. And then, because of that, in the following year, 1567, he was mysteriously killed in an explosion. And then after that, Mary had married the prime suspect in his death, which led to outrage the Scottish royals. And so, since Mary was associated with all these scandalous situations, she was forced to abdicate her power on the throne to her infant son at the time, and then she had fled to England to find help, but that was the worst thing she could have done, because then she was imprisoned for 19 years, and she was found guilty of treason, and then following to be beheaded in 1587. And then moving on to Lady Jane Grey. She was known as the 9-Day Queen because she only ruled from July 10th to July 19th. So she was born to nobility because they were related to English royals. And so that put her on a very high class. And because of that, she got a really good education, which at the time they would learn at home, and because of the opportunity she got, she was able to become fluent in a lot of languages. And then, since she was a political pawn, she was forced into a marriage with a guy named Guildford. He was the son of a duke. And then, when it came her time to rule, she refused the crown, and that ended up making her husband the duke, and that made her mother-in-law upset. And then, unfortunately, Jane was imprisoned in the Tower of London and found guilty of high treason, or convicted. And then Queen Mary, she was her cousin. She was reluctant to have her killed because she found out that she was coerced, which, I mean, makes sense. She was a political pawn for her parents. And then, unfortunately, because of the rebellion going on, the Protestant rebellion, I believe, there's so many threats going on with Mary's rule and Jane the throne and so on and so forth. Jane her reputation was a political threat, so Mary had signed her death warrant, and then she was killed in February of 1554 at the young age of 17. The thing I find interesting, though, is that both of them were killed because of treason and in February. Anyways, that's my project. Thank you so much for your time, and have a good day.